Whiteboard. Thank you. Who said that? Thank you, Allie. God bless you. Okay, so when adding real numbers with the same sign, okay? In other words, you're adding two positive numbers or you're adding two negative numbers. Here's what you do. You add those numbers together and you keep whatever sign they already had. So if I have a 3 and a 5, I add them together. They were both positive, so my answer is positive. Okay? This one, a negative plus a negative. They have the same sign, so I'm going to add 3 plus 5 is 8. They're both negative, so the answer is negative. Okay? Negative 18 plus negative 2. Do you add those numbers together or subtract them? You add them. They have the same sign, so add them. 18 plus 2 is 20. Positive or negative? Negative, because they started as negatives. Okay? However, if you add real numbers with different signs, so one is positive and one is negative, or one is negative and one is positive, right? Their signs are different. Now you subtract the numbers, okay? And then you keep the sign of the greater absolute value. I'll explain that in just a minute. So, negative 12 plus 7. One's positive, one's negative. Do I add them or subtract? You subtract them, okay? You go 12 minus 7 is 5. Then you look at your numbers. The one that has a bigger absolute value, which would be the 12, right? You keep the sign of that one. So this is a negative 5. Okay, this one, a positive 3, a negative 5. Do you add or subtract? Subtract. Bigger minus smaller. So 5 minus 3 is 2. Is this a positive 2 or a negative 2? It's a negative 2 because your bigger absolute value would be the negative 5. Okay, the positive version of that is bigger. Negative 4.8, positive 9.5. Do you add them or subtract them? You subtract them. Always the bigger minus the smaller, so 9.5 minus 4.8. Okay, so you get a decimal. What is that? That's 4 point what? 7? Okay, so 4.7, is that positive or negative?
Positive.
It's positive because the bigger of the two, when taking the absolute value, is the positive number, positive 9.5. Okay? 3/4 and negative 5/6. Add them or subtract them? One is positive, one is negative. Subtract them. When you have one of each, you subtract every time. Okay? Now, you don't have a common denominator right now, so let's find one. It's 12. Good job. So 3/4 is how many twelfths? 9 twelfths, right? Times 3 is 9 twelfths. Negative 5/6 is how many twelfths? Negative 10 twelfths. Okay, so this is your new problem, right? 9 twelfths plus a negative 10 twelfths. Add them or subtract them? Subtract them. Okay, so 10 twelfths minus 9 twelfths is how many twelfths?
19. Wait.
1. 10 minus 9 is 1 twelfth. Okay, is your answer positive 1/12 or negative 1/12? Negative, because the bigger one is the negative. Okay, so if your signs are the same, do you add them or subtract them? Negative plus negative, positive plus positive. Add them together. If your signs are different, positive plus negative or negative plus positive, subtract. Okay? Inevitably, it gets done wrong quite often. Okay, so now we're going to mix them up. Yes, ma'am.
Are we going to do like the rest of the letters?
I'm going to have you try the mixed review by yourself, not like the rest of the lesson. But the example 3, I'm going to have you try all 4 of those. because now it's like the other ones, it was all one or all the other, right? So you have 4 questions here. Negative 16 plus negative 8, negative 11 plus 9, 7 plus negative 14, negative 6 plus negative 2. Try those. Don't plug them into your calculator, okay? I want to know that you understand the concept. What are you doing? What do you get from those? Example 3. A, B, C, and D. Did you gentlemen do them already? Shane? Did you do this?
Yeah.
You did all 4?
Yeah.
Anyone still working on them? Okay. What'd you get for the first one? Negative 24. You add them together because they have the same sign. Okay? Keep it negative because they're negative. What'd you get for the second one? Negative 2. You subtract them. 11 minus 9 is 2. The bigger one is negative, so keep it negative. What'd you get for the third one? Negative 7. Subtract them. Keep the sign of the negative, the bigger one. And D? Negative 8. Add them together. Keep the negative. Okay? Okay. So that's adding same sign, adding opposite signs. Good? Okay. Now, subtracting real numbers. So when you are subtracting a real number, you are going to add the opposite of what it was. I think it's Mrs. Brannon that says this.
Minus negative is plus positive.
I say that all the time, yes. But she says add a line and change the sign. Does that sound? Yeah, add a line, change the sign, okay? So on this first one.
It's so much easier.
I know, that's always
What?
add a line, change the sign.
So confusing. I never do that.
It's
It's like it's so much easier to just like think of it in your head. Yeah.
So much easier than what?
Than like changing the sign. Yeah, I just do it like right
Yeah, you just draw 2 lines.
Like I don't do any of that. Okay?
You don't add a line and change the sign.
No.
What do you do?
I just do the problem.
But what do you do? So do this problem for me. What would you do? What? This first one.
Oh, okay.
What would you do?
No, I just like 8 plus 13 and I just add negative. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Right.
That's what I do.
But
That's not what I do.
but that won't work.
It's not negative 21.
No.
Oh, she's doing it all.
See?
That's my bad.
Add a line and change the sign would be add a line to your minus and change the sign of your negative.
No, it's gonna be correct.
Or, no, it's saying negative 8 minus a negative 13. Here's what I always say. Minus a negative is plus a positive, right? So negative 8 plus 13, now it's those previous questions. You have one of each, and you're adding them. You subtract. 13 minus 8 is 5. You keep the sign of the bigger number, so that's 5. Okay? Take a look at this one. Now, minus a negative equals plus a positive doesn't work anymore because it's not minus a negative. This is where add a line and change the sign is what makes sense. You would go 3.5, you add a line, make it plus, and you change the sign. This was positive, now it's negative. Okay? When you have one of each, do you add them or subtract them? You subtract them. So you're going to go 12.4 minus 3.5, which is what? 8.9. Is it positive or negative? It's negative because the bigger one was negative. So negative 8.9. Okay? 0. Add a line. Change the sign. A number plus its opposite is 0. Okay? Last one. Minus a negative is plus a positive, or add a line, change the sign, right? Add those together because they're the same sign, they're both positive. You get 13.5. Okay? Any questions on that?
This time, we're going to conduct a modified process